Hello, it's Monday, my free and powerful friend. I'm so excited to have you here. Do you know why I call you free and powerful? If you have listened to the Unsoberly Sober show or maybe been around the block, been in the Magnified community and course, you understand that I call you free and powerful because I'm speaking into your identity that we want to grow into, right? So, a lot of our life circumstances is going to be dictated around who we think we are. And a lot of going sober strategies and protocols call in this identity of I'm an addict. I have issues with alcohol. I need to adjust my life because of my issues with alcohol. But if we saw ourselves as being free from the chains that bind us to alcohol, if we see ourselves as being free to do good, feel good, be confident, then alcohol, quote unquote, problems wouldn't exist. And if we were powerful instead of powerless to alcohol, powerful, it would mean that we can go anywhere, we can do anything. Alcohol can be around us, but we're powerful over our own behavior and our own choices and our own reality. So that is why I call you my free and powerful friend. And I hope you are embracing that, soaking it in like a sponge, thinking of yourself in that manner, and enjoying your first Monday of Sober October. Sober October started on a Tuesday. We have one weekend under our belts. And I want to, first off, congratulate you if you pushed through this weekend and you did differently. You tried new things. You sat out of drinking. I want to applaud you. 1 week without alcohol, if you haven't gone that long in a long time, 1 week without alcohol, that's a testament to your power, to your freedom. If you by chance had a little backslide and you had 1 or 10 and you found yourself doing the same things that you'd usually do over the weekend, even though you said you're going to do Sober October, I want to send you a hug. I want to give you a high five. I want to say, hey, that's the past. This too shall pass. You're going to be able to do different. And this week, I want to hit the ground running talking about routines, because routines in early sobriety are how we recreate our identity. And a paradigm is typically in controlling how we use our time. Now, let me backtrack. I want to talk about a paradigm because this is really fundamental to the Magnified coaching systems, whether clients are in the fitness and nutrition programs or in the alcohol sobriety mindset program. We address paradigms. Paradigms are these consistent running programs in the back of our mind. They're always operating. They are the subconscious programs controlling almost all of our habitual behavior. And our paradigms control our use of time. When I was drinking, it seemed bonkers to me to spend a Friday night working on myself. It seemed bonkers to me to go to bed on a Friday night at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. It seemed outrageous to spend my Saturday doing healthy things rather than going to brunch and making sure that everybody knew that I was out and about and that I was, spending time with all my friends. That seemed so crazy to me. But now it seems absolutely crazy to me to spend every single weekend escaping my life. That perspective shift and that paradigm shift of how I use my time only occurred because I consistently challenged my routines. Now, why did I challenge my routines? I want to give you kind of an illustration of why routines are so important. It's not just because of us getting ahead in life. It's not just because, oh, I got these things checked off my list, but routines actually help us feel like a more organized, prideful person. Routines help us feel this sense of gratitude, fulfillment. I did all of my personal promises today. And guess what? When we're in that frequency, when we're in that vibe, self-sabotage just doesn't seem the same. We don't need it. We actually are perfectly content sitting on the couch, drinking our nighttime tea if we've done everything good for ourselves. I noticed this exact experience with my husband when I was in my first successful long-term sober month back in 2020. I remember my husband having his nightcap. Days where I did not keep up with my personal routine, that nightcap seemed very tempting. Why? Because I'm sitting on the couch and I'm looking for something outside of me to make me feel good because I didn't make myself feel good that day. I did not follow through on the things I said I was going to do. I did not do anything healthy for me in my workouts. I didn't do anything healthy for myself in the kitchen. I didn't do anything healthy in my relationships. These routines, I did not keep up with them. So then the drink does seem really tempting. Now, on the flip side, what I realized was that when I did have a solid routine and I crossed those things off of my list, it wasn't just for the activity of crossing it off my list, but for the feeling that it gave me. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. I felt happy. I felt content. I felt peaceful. I felt like I was having fun just sitting on the couch with my husband. I did not need anything outside of me. So on those days where I followed through on my routines, I felt so good about myself that I did not need anything outside of me. In fact, the thought of drinking the same thing my husband was drinking gave me an ick feeling. I got the ick from it because, hey, guess what? That goes against everything good that I did for myself today. And I think that this is a place where a lot of people go awry. You know, I've talked about my mom's experience with her 12 steps and the AA experience and how that really didn't influence any healthy routine other than going to the actual AA meetings. Outside of that, there was no focus really, at least in her meetings and her sponsors. They never really put a focus on like, hey, what are some things you want to achieve day to day? What are some things that would make you feel good at the end of the day to say, hey, I got this done. I moved the needle here. They really just had her focusing solely on sobriety. Hi, all the world's a stage. Thanks for being here. They really just had her focusing on sobriety. And so at the end of the day, guess what? Oh, I made it through a day without drinking. Oh my gosh. Doesn't that kind of recruit a thought of like, I should drink to celebrate, which doesn't make a lot of sense? Doesn't it kind of recruit like, well, that's all I needed to do today. So what now? Now I feel kind of empty because I stayed sober, but like, what else is there out there? Without having goals to work on outside of sobriety, it can feel very lonely at the end of the day, sitting on the couch, twiddling your thumbs, not knowing what to do with your time. So this is why your morning routine, your mid-afternoon routine, what you do after work is so important. I would say what you do 5 to 9 is much more important than what you do 9 to 5. 5 to 9 a.m., 5 to 9 p.m., create a routine around that. I would say include something to get steps. Focus on getting steps every day, 8 to 10 or 8,000 to 10,000 every day. Focus on getting at least 100 grams of protein. How are you going to do that? Well, in the morning, that's going to be your routine before work, after work. Maybe it's meal prepping for work. That's how you're going to spend your 5 to 9 a.m. and p.m. Are you going to try a new fitness class? Maybe if you started to do a workout in your 5 to 9 a.m., then your entire mental state would change for work and for after work. So these routines, what you do 5 to 9 a.m. and p.m., are absolutely vital to your experience in early sobriety because you're either going to be sitting around thinking about the alcohol that you're telling yourself not to drink, or you're going to be thinking about all of the great things you did that day and how fulfilling it was to actually do the meal prep. And now you're feeling excited for tomorrow because you're all prepped and ready, and how it felt to try that new workout class and how it felt to get your sweat on and how it felt to be in control of your behavior today. And that really is a different feeling, right? I invite any questions. You guys, I see that we have some live streamers here. So feel free, please ask questions about routines, habit strategies, how to Abstain from the drink without having to force yourself to think, don't drink, don't drink. Because remember, it's these little habits, these things that we do throughout the day, these routines that keep us on a high vibe frequency. I want you to think about the vibration someone's at where they're saying, don't drink. I shouldn't drink today. Oh my gosh, I can't drink. That would go against Sober October. I'm trying to do different. They're communicating themselves to themselves from a frequency of, I'm the type of person that really wants to drink but can't. How do we get ourselves to a frequency of, I'm the type of person that doesn't want to drink? Well, it means that we've created a life that we love so much. Drinking would just bring us down instead of bringing us up from the bottom baseline, right? We're recreating our baseline. If we're operating up here at the top level, alcohol would represent knocking ourselves down. And when you get into the habits and the routines of somebody who's healthy, happy, free, and powerful, then you're always operating up here. And you see that as a huge sacrifice going against all of your activities lately. That would just bring me down. That doesn't fit. I am not thinking on that frequency, so I am not attracting thoughts, and I'm not getting emotionally involved in thoughts that include alcohol. This is so much more than just willpower and saying no to the alcohol. It's actually saying yes to the life and the dreams that you want, so that alcohol just doesn't play a role in your play of your life, so to say. It doesn't have a role as you're directing your life any longer, because now you're operating from the frequency of, I'm not the type of person that drinks to have fun. I'm not the type of person that drinks to de-stress. I am the fun, and I know that stress is just a perception. It's actually nothing to freak out about. And all of this emotional regulation and metaphysics is everything that Magnify encapsulates. It's everything that I believe in, because I myself experienced this methodology of just don't drink thinking. And I saw how that perpetuated the drinking thoughts. I saw how that perpetuated the temptation, the obsession, because it kept me locked in the identity of somebody who wants to drink but can't. When I started to recreate my identity as somebody who doesn't need alcohol for those things, I said, okay, well, what does that mean that I do like? What does that mean that I do with my time? What does that mean that I do represent with my character and my habits and my behaviors? Everybody is highly unique, but as you're brainstorming that, I'm guaranteeing you that if you have an open mind, you'll get new ideas and you'll actually act on them. You'll be excited to act on them and have these adventures every day rather than alcohol antics and adventures. You're going to have great adventures of like rediscovering that this world is so big outside of the world of and culture of drinking. It's so exciting. So no matter what happened this past weekend, maybe you backslid, maybe you had a couple, maybe you had more than a couple, maybe you spent the whole weekend isolating and not having any, but feeling a little down about it. Maybe you spent the weekend trying all these new activities and realizing that life really is grand. No matter what your experience is, I want to push you to keep persisting, keep exploring. There is so much to life outside of the bar, outside of our home bar, aka probably the couch with a bottle of wine. There's so much more to this world outside of that. And I want you to know that there's support for you. There's a place, there's a strategy for you. We're going to be covering it again in our almost daily live streams here about Sober October. I will say that these will get a lot more interesting. If you guys have any questions, you want a little bit of hot seat coaching, you ask something in the chat, I'm able to give you live feedback. That would be really exciting. But I know this is kind of also a really personal subject. We don't necessarily want to talk about ourselves and our drinking habits sometimes. So I understand, but maybe over our daily live streams that we have throughout Sober October, you'll start to get more comfortable and you'll start to see that this is a place where you can ask questions. Hi, Marquis. Thank you. I'm so happy that you like this train of thought and that you're vibing with this. Thank you for dropping a comment. So maybe over time, you'll feel more comfortable. You'll ask more questions. If you have any questions, any thoughts, if you need any strategies, please leave them in the comments after these go live or get published on my channel, the Magnify Maggie YouTube channel. Let me know so that I can structure out lessons for tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday that are all really catered to you. This is actually what I do with Magnify members as well. So if you're interested in this being something that you're actually invested in, you have the person over your shoulder saying, hey, let's try this. Hey, I know your life circumstances. Let's get you going with this strategy. Then there is a place for you as well in the Magnify course and community. Visit magnifypw.com and you'll see the course and community tab. I think that it's so easy to kind of think about sobriety and say, yes, I'm going to give it a try. But once you start to invest and buy into that identity with a helpful program and strategy, then you actually start to get a lot of traction under your wheels and you start to really feel it. So that support is there. But if you're not ready for that, remember, I'm here almost every day throughout October to help you think different in order to drink different or never again. You know, it's weird. I get a lot of flack for my tagline, think different to drink different, especially on TikTok. I think people are just savage over there on TikTok. They're like, wait, so just thinking differently is going to make me be sober? And I'm like, yeah, I know it sounds really oversimplified, but it's thought energy is the most potent form of energy. And if all day long we're thinking about alcohol, guess what we're going to manifest? A reality where we're having to fight tooth and nail to abstain from it, or we're going to invite in a reality where we cave in and we just think that's the entirety of this world. That's what I'm going to do with my life, and I'm going to drink. So thinking differently about yourself, thinking differently about how you use your time, thinking differently about your future. This is even a big one. Thinking differently in general about your future instead of your past. This is where Magnify goal orientation really comes into play, because when we set goals, all of a sudden our mind isn't ruminating over past failures, past fears, past doubts, trials, tribulations, embarrassment with alcohol. Look at everything that I've done to my life because of alcohol. I might as well lean on it to cope with all of my shame and guilt. If we take our mind off of the past and we stop thinking about it and we start thinking about what we want for our future, that in and of itself can save us from an extreme amount of depression and anxiety. And guess what we tend to use when we are depressed and anxious? Alcohol. So absolutely thinking differently it will result in drinking differently or even never again. So it all goes down in the mind. It is all mindset. You can come up with all of the strategies in the world, but if your attitude is sober living is hard, that's what you're going to get. So thinking differently about sobriety. Sobriety is actually normal. Most people in this world live pretty sober throughout their year, almost completely sober. Most people do that. I've just been absorbed and immersed in this world of heavy drinking and identity of drinking. Let me think outside of that box. What else is there? That can absolutely transform the trajectory of your sober journey. I know it has for me. I know that Magnify members say the same thing. They're like, wow, I didn't know that this could change so quickly. It just has to do with my thoughts, how I view myself, how I identify myself, powerless or powerful, needing to abstain or free from obsession. How do you think about yourself? How do you think about your routines? How do you think about the way you spend your time? I want to invite you again, ask questions, ask for strategies, tips, share some stories. Let me know in the chat throughout the future daily streams. We're going to be back tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed. You turn on your notifications so you know. I try to schedule them out ahead of time so you know what time we're going to be on. You can submit questions. Also know that you can find me on Instagram at Magnify Maggie. Let me know, hey, I've been watching your YouTube live streams. I would love if you could tell me how to do X, Y, and Z. I would love if you could help me overcome this mindset barrier, this terror barrier. Reach out on Instagram because I'm creating my curriculum for Sober October. And I want to make sure that it is injecting positivity into where you need it in your life. So reach out on Instagram at Magnify Maggie. You can email me, magnifymaggiej@magnifypw.com, or just show up and ask questions in the chat. And then if it doesn't fit the topic of the day, then I'll write it down and that'll be the next topic and I'll put that on the docket. Okay, you guys, I am here for you. I am creating a revolutionary program that will transform the way that you think about yourself and think about drinking so that living without alcohol is just the new norm, and it's exciting and fun and glamorous and romantic and all of these things. I want you to feel good. Remember, it all goes down in the mind. Think different in order to drink different, or never again. Come back tomorrow. We will be here again. There are lots of links for resources in the descriptions of my videos on the YouTube channel, Magnify Maggie YouTube channel. So if you need any ebooks, if you need any information about the Magnify course and community, those are there. I'm so happy that you created time for us to meet today. Thank you guys for letting me know you're watching, letting me know that you're resonating with this in the chat box. Until tomorrow, remember, think different to drink different. You are free. You are powerful. You are a magical freaking creature. And I can't wait to hear more from you. Thank you guys for being here. Talk soon.